Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being, welcome to Universal Peace Television. This is the broadcast. €150 reward for anyone with a cure for centipedes in the human body. Centipede equals Brainbug. So this video is basically gonna cover some things that people might find shocking. But it's better to be traumatized and to be scared, so we take action so that it doesn't happen to us and our fellow humans. And what I'm talking about is, for example, the danger of pork, of cancer hormone, pig meat basically. So here you can see, this is a real picture basically what happens if you eat raw meat. This one video, 45,000 views. And this focuses more on worms, which lay their eggs in meat, raw meat especially. And about 25% of the meat eaters, also called cadaver eaters, suffer from this tapeworm, Ascaria tapeworm, I believe, filariosis, according to Dr. Rio, and that's pretty easy to get rid of with mebendazole, etc. I saw one video where they took these very long worms out, and it was really like a pan of spaghetti basically. Here you can see it as well. Here, this stuff. So where should I begin? What my question is to the doctors, etc. out there is the following: can insects and have insects entered the human brain via the sinuses? Here we see the inferior sagittal sinus and the superior sagittal sinus, and then my question is if this sinus is connected to the nose, and if they then can crawl into this sagittal sinus and put their eggs somewhere here in my brain. I've been having pain in the right side of my brain. I haven't found a cure for these centipedes yet that are in my body. I have seen one behind my left eye, so it is very horrible. And of course I've caught these centipedes, so it cannot be a hallucination. One was clamped into my forehead, a very tiny centipede, and it was in Vinkeveen, that's years back. They make rattling noises in my throat, and their markings are in my feces. I've been misdiagnosed by the doctors of the AMC, and it's like they're in on depopulating me basically, that they hear a voice in their head that tells them what to do, like perhaps Dr. Harold F. Shipman heard as well, a Jewish doctor that killed over 200 of his patients. And because there are 6 Jewish people that want to depopulate the earth, which I've covered in my previous broadcasts, I think it is a good idea to warn people about it, because their book quotes and Georgia Guidestones make clear beyond any reasonable doubt that they want to get rid of large numbers of people. So I could cover Iran, but I've covered these articles basically, and I think that they don't want, that even they don't want a world war over Iran. Perhaps some of them do, and perhaps some people would blow up the whole world if they could, to depopulate the earth, etc. So I want to study this a bit more, find out more about these areas of the brain, the sinuses. And here there was another article that I've closed. This one doesn't have the text very clearly, but it may be a clearer picture. And I wonder if they are in the sphenoparietal sinus over here, if that is connected to the, if that's a whole system, and they can get in via the nose or via the eye, because there were also behind my eye, these Lithobius forficatus are about 1/3 of a ping's length. I've done a separate video about this. Centipedes in my body, please help. But I've decided to give a €150 reward. So I'm not kidding about this, I'm not making this up. Other people have contacted me, also because of the video, that think they have centipedes in their body. Some people think that they're also in their bloodstream. I think that this type does not enter the bloodstream. This is a new tiny pipe that I bought. Very nice. Sort of Popeye with a bamboo stem, which kind of sticks out inside the pipe, but that may be better so that the pipe doesn't get too deep, basically. So I can place that filter on there, the pipe screen, and well, I think it's very light, very nice. So I do like the pipe, but that's not important, of course. The thing is, I'm first gonna pick a pipe. So at a certain point people don't care anymore, you know. These people have contacted me. They also have these centipedes in their body. Oh, it's like there's still something in here. Someone must have forgotten to clean this. That happens sometimes. So I'm not going to use this now. I use this one. This was also a new eBay. Very nice, very light pear wood. So yeah, this is more a broadcast where I'm going to explore rather than give all the facts, etc. In my previous broadcasts you can hear the facts. The symptoms, well, perhaps I should run through that shortly. They attack my throat also, so sometimes my voice will fade because of these centipedes. It is possible they are high members of DARPA, that they're remotely controlled part of a program to depopulate Earth. Covered more in my previous broadcasts. I have that anti-human culling and depopulation Facebook page, which I haven't done much about because I'm more concentrating on the broadcasts. Always on the lookout for what is most important. Probably they're gonna sanction Iran, which will drive up cancer oil prices. And that might happen pretty soon already if the Rothschilds have really sold massive amounts of US assets and bought cancer oil in South America shares. More about this in my previous broadcasts, so I hope that they give a list to the IAEA of the suspect sites, that they don't go bomb Iran or anything insane to create a third Jesuit world war and depopulate the Earth. But if they do, then it's better to be prepared with that radiological water filter and storable food. Having said that, I think that they won't create a world war over Iran, that they want to preserve the infrastructure, and that they're looking for more selective ways to depopulate Earth. What Alex Jones calls Nazi eugenics, and you could see it that way. So I think most people don't think the Nazi people, the Nazis were the good guys and the Jews were the bad guys trying to depopulate Earth or whatever. And there are lots of Jews involved in their depopulation as well. I've covered these 6 Jews that want to depopulate the Earth, but also others like Ted Turner of CNN that also go along with this idea that we're overpopulated, the lie that we're overpopulated. because everybody would fit into Australia, have their own piece of land and more than enough to eat if they divide the Earth's wealth equally among men. And then the rest of the world would be uninhabited. I've repeated it in many broadcasts because it's important, because many people are depopulating because they think or believe in the lie that we're overpopulated. So €150 reward for anybody with a cure for centipedes in the human body. That's the only thing that matters. That's the most important thing. And I run into that. I'm probably programmed to, I've done hypnosis, etc. Several hypnoses. Another important point for people with centipedes in their body, probably they can see that on an MRI scan, not on a CT scan, PET scan, colonoscopy, nor bronchoscopy. Because centipedes run from the light, these cameras inside the body can't see anything without light. But theoretically, if there are a lot of them in your body, then they run into them sooner or later. Because when people are misdiagnosed, the cause of disease is usually not treated, and they treat the symptoms with cancer-causing chemicals, cancer-causing prescription drugs. And the hospitals are in the top 10 of main causes of death twice, so watch out for that. And the AMC may now have centipedes also, if I am right and there are centipedes in my body. And I know I am, because I've caught them, I've seen them behind my eye, and I've felt them bite in my anus, etc. So then you are pretty certain about this, really. Also because people have pooped out centipedes, it's clear that they, and it's documented scientifically, pseudoparasitism of myriapoda in humans, and that the centipedes procreate in the human intestine, and even the common house centipede has entered the human body. And I did a video about these 5 species that are known to have procreated in people's intestine. But they don't see us like warm tree lugs that they can procreate in. Which we know, or at least the people with centipedes in their body know this, because they attack our body, they scavenge or other bite while they walk across the body and then drop their venom in it, so they see us as their prey. And I've also photographed these insect bites on my body and on my father's body. So the doctors claim that my father also mutilated himself. Plus it doesn't look like normal cuts, they really are insect bites. And well, you can look it up for yourselves. Oh, did I put a picture of that? Yeah, I think it's also on universecreator.weebly.com. I'll show that again. So I'm repeating videos about this subject because they really are in my body and I have to get them out. Also for other people that have contacted me. One person, I've covered these emails from other people with centipedes in their body in my previous broadcasts. Oh, this is the wrong one. Universe Creator, this is the wrong blog, I mean. They let me make the typo by controlling my brainwave. And for some of these things, they even have to hurt my brain. Anyway. Centipedes in my body, centipede poison wanted. This is the Lithobius forficatus centipede I caught in the UMC hospital I was in during my stay there. Size is 1.7 centimeters. I measured this one. So there's another picture. So this is only about 1/3 of your pink's length. So they are very small. It looks very huge on your screen. But in reality, if you have a big screen like I do, 1/3 of a pink's length, it's smaller than this, basically, on my screen, but I have a rather big screen. So it's 1.7 centimeters. You can measure it with some thing that measures in centimeters, basically. So they're quite tiny, but in close-up they look like real monsters from the underworld or whatever, and they are possibly designed by DARPA, etc., to get rid of enemies in a horrible way. People that expose their voice of God, weapon their neural network, etc., perhaps. People that expose the Jesuits and Freemasons. So there should be an investigation into the Committee of 300 and the Freemasons, these illegal secret societies that exist that want to depopulate the earth. And these people that have advocated depopulating earth should be arrested, of course. We can read this stuff about hybrid insects are real, etc. I could read this whole page for fun to remind myself. So I think the best way to get them out would be with their eigenfrequenz, with the scalar waves or electromagnetic waves. I don't know if this is a male or female. I caught this when I was locked up in the UMC hospital. This is the place where I was locked up in, basically. This was made with a Nikon camera with a fisheye lens. And here we see a tree that grows diagonally, basically. This was the AMC, actually. This was where I was locked up later, after the evaluation, or was it still ongoing? Anyway, I've written a booklet with the facts about this. But another point I wanted to make is that nobody has helped me. No doctors have contacted me. Practically nobody, except for a handful of people that thought they have a cure. I've covered that in my previous broadcast, all the cures that I've tried. And I don't really feel like reading what we see here again, but it may be best because it contains the stuff also about pseudoparasitism of Myriapoda in humans, scientifically documented. Oh, I listed number 1 manually, so perhaps surgery must be done to remove these critters from my body. But they shone from the light, so then it may be very hard to catch them, basically. The ones in the intestine near my anus, they could be caught with the camera, basically, theoretically. They also make a clicking noise, so it's possible my brain is pretty fucked up right now. If they put eggs in my head, they have to be removed very fast. So if I die soon, then it's from these centipedes in my fucking brain, and they may be DARPA centipedes. They also have these hybrid insects. And actually, I think they started that torture before I attempted to press charges for the first time of incitement to commit genocide, directed energy weapon torture, and the murder of my mother with directed energy weapons, the dental torture, etc. Probably done by MI5, NSA. And they are controlled by the Jesuits according to the information we see, which is from Citizens Action Network on facebook.com. So he controls the intelligence agencies, which are all Masonic according and controlled by Jesuits according to this picture. So they're trying to misinform and depopulate people. I'm getting a picture. It's loading. Okay. So this is the picture of my doctor, a friend of mine, Jackie Pollack. An Orthodox Jew, Arnold Kater, and there were also other doctors involved. Despite me catching a centipede, they labeled me a delusional parasitosis patient, and the other thing is the yellow sticky poison in my feces that they didn't want to analyze. So I think that should be analyzed and compared to the venom of a Lithobius forficatus centipede. And that's the way I can prove in court that these centipedes are in my body. But I think the doctor knows this in reality. He's also involved with SciTech. On the left side you see that Central European Institute of Technology. And they work with nanotechnology. I've shown that picture also on Universe Creator, .weebly.com. On the Prologic Mirror. Website, it's here somewhere, over here, this one. Possible nano ant with chips in its body, hybrid insect caught in Amsterdam on 7th floor in my flat. That was in Hackford, Amsterdam. And here you can see these black dots in its body basically. And this looks kind of like a chip. I don't know if these are its normal internal organs, which they would claim probably, if it's nanotechnology. They'd go for what most people would find most assumable based on the brain map, if they are themselves also controlled with the neural network. Anyway, perhaps it's best to leave all the stuff about hybrid insects out, because it's scientifically documented and proven beyond any reasonable doubt that these insects procreate in the human intestine. Oh yeah, and the point was about the doctor. I think that all doctors should be checked basically, that they should investigate if there are doctors with insane amounts of dead patients, and that those doctors should be investigated further, like Dr. Harold F. Shipman should have been investigated in an earlier stage before he killed 200 of his patients with morphine injections basically. And people can lead double lives, be Freemasons, Luciferian on the one hand, and on the other hand Orthodox Jews or Muslims or Christians, religious leaders, etc. So they know I only want the centipedes out, and that's why I'm not gonna sue anybody, I'm not gonna press charges, but I am warning the world about depopulation recently. Another doctor, serial killing doctor, caught, and I've covered serial killing doctors in one of my previous videos, which are blocked by YouTube, so they demonetize videos, and they can make sure that nobody finds people's videos basically. And what they also do is unsubscribe people from my videos and from videos of, for example, Eric Dubé with the Goyim Revolution rep, etc. And I've made clear it's the Jew sounds more like a smoothie commercial to me. It's the Jesuits and Masons in control of people with these directed energy weapons and synthetic telepathy. More about it in my previous broadcast. So my question would be, he's an oncologist, so he might not be the person with most knowledge about sinuses, more about blood. It is very well possible that centipede venom has accumulated if they've already procreated. I've had them in my body for over 6 years now, and now it's really becoming a problem. Also, these ticking noises hurt in my brain as well sometimes. But the question is if that is caused by cartilage cracking or if they already have entered my brain, which I think, and then still all hope is not yet lost. So I'm very much prepared to undergo surgery and to remove these centipedes manually, if that's the best method. I've covered it in my broadcasts, and slowly these broadcasts are accumulating viewers until, for example, an EMP erases the whole internet and all the evidence posted on there about the depopulators, people haters. And it's a satanic inversion, so of course they want to pretend that we are the people haters or whatever, which we're not. Unless we're depopulating the earth with nanotechnology and pretend we're curing people or whatever. the nano death chippies that cause heart attacks and brain bleedings. And if we do a really good job on vaccines, then perhaps we can lower that by 7 billion people or whatever. Anyway, trust no one, nothing is what it seems. I made the point that also non-Jews are involved in depopulating the earth, and that the Jesuits control the brain control machine, so that's important. And if a world war of Iran would break out, then the Jesuit Adolfo Nicholas would be the one to overthrow, to end the world war. Unless you want a 7-year nuclear winter and mutually assured destruction and to die yourself for the earth or for the universe or whatever. But I think most people don't, because of evolution. Everybody wants to survive, practically everybody. Except when people are in a lot of pain, etc., or very extremely depressed, which they can induce with synthetic telepathy. They can induce any emotion. That's the Hatayama patent, referred to also in the Mijdrecht patent. The Mijdrecht patent is the main brain control patent. But I should talk more about the pain in my brain. Uncontrollable. Right, so then we can read this for a while. Well, perhaps it's fun if I read it, because I already read it in our broadcast, and then give my comment on every line. When the controllers pretend to be the centipede, reasons to assume the centipedes in my body are high MEMS or scalar control. Oh, I want to skip that. It's not, well, it is quite important. If they control them, then it's also harder. If they, for example, make a picture of my stomach, then they can make sure they're in my throat, or not even present in my body. Basically, they can let them hide in the room. If they control them, they can let them do anything, especially if they have chips in their body. They can make these critters do things they themselves would never do. In reality, also, I claim that that's done with synthetic telepathy and through-the-wall radar, the VIPA array in Poker Flat, Alaska, which is a camouflaged array, and HAARP is a fake facility, or a legit facility, between quotation marks, where they only do stuff that's allowed and open every 6 years to the public, like these 6 moments of silence and 6 million dead Jews in the Holocaust, etc. 6 moments of silence for the WTC victims. And religious people might be aware of the number of the beast or whatever. 6 is everywhere. Beware. Beware controlled opposition, I say. Not the eyes of Mars. If you're not Caesar or whatever. Would Caesar have understood English? I doubt it. And we all understand English, so we're better than Caesar. We're more developed than you. But perhaps Caesar is resurrected, and I have my doubts if I will ever be resurrected. But no matter how long it takes, I think it's possible, because everything is energy. It's no miracle if a neural network is used. Then it's not an almighty entity that created the Big Bang and everything in existence, and therefore it doesn't own it. It doesn't have to buy it. Logical I like logical ideas. We shouldn't allow them to control our emotions in the first place, and in the second place we shouldn't be controlled by our emotions, only logic, because they control our emotions, what we feel. With synthetic telepathy they control bodily functions, they control our brainwave, and of course they want to stay in control, so they give everybody the idea that it's nonsense, that the brainwave is controlled. They give them the idea they control their own brainwave and nobody else is controlling them, sending ideas in their own inner voice and controlling their emotions. Every little idea they have, that their brain can be likened to an antenna, like the Kabbalist Rav Yehuda Berg wrote. So if they will win eventually, then that's also, but that can also be a strategy, of course. We shouldn't let them win, we shouldn't let them take our freedom, and we shouldn't let them depopulate the earth. And we should understand that we're not fighting an info war, but a real war, and people that want to depopulate us are our enemy, and that they control these judges with these directed energy torture weapons, of course, and synthetic telepathy. I've heard somebody say that they are all Masons, basically, otherwise they can be judges, but I don't know that. I don't know if that's true, I mean. So, what are the conspiracy facts? I'm a conspiracy factist, not a theorist like Alex Jones. The Incest Bible is a collection of polytheistic plagiarized myths rolled into monotheism that proves beyond any reasonable doubt that God does not exist. You can rewind. But it's more of a tribal thing, a group thing, basically, living by certain laws, etc., to benefit the group and to make themselves numerous like sand in the sea and stars on the firmament. And I can also ponder upon whether it is true that atom bomb is a Jewish invention, and if some time-traveling neural network gave them the bomb just in time, or stuff like that, you know. Just in time to exterminate us in 2017 or 18 over Iran, for example. Okay, reasons to assume the centipedes in my body are high mems. The controllers pretend to be the centipede. These are these voice to skull messengers that have tortured my teeth out of my mouth, and they've attacked me with the scalar weapon several times. So they're not using microwaves. That's a fable, that's a fake, or other targeted individuals that believe the story claim that they were attacked with microwaves. That's nonsense. These attacks are done with scalar waves, and possibly also from other locations than the FIPA array through the wall radar in Poker Flat, Alaska, which is a camouflaged antenna park. So you cannot see that like the HAARP antenna park, which is also perhaps the most powerful one they have. So they can make quakes, floods, anything. They already control the weather, and they want us to believe that they're not doing these things to stay in control, to have an advantage over us, so that we don't realize that they're scanning our minds, but think they're spying on our cancer cell phones and our emails. That's Echelon. Anyway, Echelon, I made Echelon already. I mean, I wrote it down, I've written thousands of articles, and I've been researching for years And it's a pity people don't take me more seriously. If they did, then they probably already would have had a cure against aging and they wouldn't have died themselves. The centipede attacked me because my scrotum was burned severely with a directed energy weapon. Right, they can let them make markings that resemble crosses, even make writings with them, so that doctors would think the patient mutilated him or herself. Did I cover the symptoms already, or was it to my father? The symptoms at the moment are pain in my right brain half. More and more lately, though it is like 3 times a day, 4 times a day, a little bit of pain. It's not like a severe headache or whatever. Other physical symptoms I'm talking about are from time to time vomiting and diarrhea at the same time, which feels worse and more painful than getting your teeth tortured out of your mouth one by one without an anesthetic, which they also did to other targeted individuals like Timothy Trespass. He's nice. He could use some money for new teeth. Oops. And he thinks it's done with Morgellons, so he's a targeted individual. He claims that himself as well. And even he has more views than I do, that's clear. Okay. Well, you could argue he also promotes religion. I'm totally anti-religion, but I think that real Christians or Protestant Christians, they don't torture people with these torture devices, etc., are good people, and they wouldn't kill me for not believing in their deity, etc. I've explained why it is proven beyond any reasonable doubt that God does not exist, because the Incest Bible is a collection of plagiarized polytheistic myths rolled into monotheism, also explained by the Zeitgeist movement. So there are several stories, also from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and they've rolled that into one book. But you could argue that that doesn't prove that God does not exist in that man-made religion, but I think it does to a certain extent. And if it is almighty, then it should have made paradise on earth already, and then we could have been rocking together and stuff. Instead of doing this shit, if you're almighty, then you can do that right now, so why don't you? And why would I worship you if you don't do that and you're almighty? Then you're a fucking evil demon, basically. You're not God, you're not an entity. You're a neural network. If it controls you totally. No, then it still wouldn't be true. You were still a person with a limited neural capacity. If it only were true that we were the neural network, then the neural network would have been controlled by a neural network instead of humans, and then perhaps we would have achieved negligible senescence. So you can read this for yourselves, why I think these centipedes are remotely controlled. It's part of the program, and part of that is pretending that the targeted individuals are paranoid or psychotic to forcibly drug them with sterilizing, depopulating drugs, cancer-causing prescription drugs. And all chemicals cause cancer, not just in prescription drugs, also in foods, especially alcohol, then it doesn't have to be on the label. So alcohol also causes cancer, and it's a great depopulator. Millions of people die of it. And it's a bummer knowing that when I mention it, it will just make people drink more. because they know they won't die if they don't overdo it, if they don't drink a bottle of vodka. Like that student that was initiated that died from it. Anyway, that may not be true. In some cases they do get cancer and they do die from alcohol. I only take a sip of wine sometimes because I want my father to drink less. He's using a type of medicine against restless legs, which according to the leaflet with the medicine turns him into a compulsive gambler. And I think that's part of the program as well. He's in denial about these centipedes. So there's a €150 cure if you can think of something, a way to get these centipedes out of my body. They're mainly in my throat and near my anus. So if I would take a medicine, then probably that would not reach these centipedes, and it would be turned into poop before it reaches them. And if they have closable ventricles, then I doubt if they're affected by it, unless they need to use blood to get oxygen. And if it's then also in my bloodstream, then it could kill them theoretically. That would be marvelous if they could make a drug that kills these centipedes deader than a hammer, that is harmless to humans. Even if it causes cancer, I would still take it. I'd die rather of cancer than of centipedes. So, but that means they themselves cannot get cured either. And you can check your feces of your dog and cat, and if you see the centipede shape in it, the exact length and the V shape at the outer end, when the poop is thick enough, then you can see that if these critters are in your pet's body. And then it would be great if you could inform me if the pet veterinarian has a cure. Then I would take that. I've already tried ivermectin, horse dewormer, mebendazole, qua prescription, cancer-causing prescription drugs, basically. So I don't advise people to buy ivermectin horse dewormer because you cannot get it without a recipe. If you are trying to get it from your pharmacy, you can buy it on eBay, basically, the horse dewormer. And then you can adjust the amount to your body weight, which I did, and that was ineffective as well. It didn't do nothing basically with these critters. And they're not called insects. Centipedes are not insects officially. That's another part of the program. Perhaps it reveals that it might be part of a bigger program also of research on centipedes in humans. Though it is documented as pseudoparasitism of myriapoda in humans. These documents are also on this page that I've collected, a couple of them. The people are not warned about centipedes in humans, that they procreate in your intestine. And I've asked the help of what's his name, PewDiePie, and also the mainstream media, even controlled opposition, to warn people about centipedes. So you must get mesh in front of the ventilation shafts of your house. You can also see these other insects that have entered the human body, also maggots, etc., that hurl themselves through your brain, and really disgusting things on YouTube, which we should watch so that we're more, so that we have more adrenaline and do a bug check. That's the other point. That's the second point. And third, never sleep in a house where you saw a centipede, because even the common house centipede is deadly. I claim that they procreate in your intestine, and the doctors usually misdiagnose patients that have this. So it is known that these centipedes have ended up in feces of people, but usually they first live 6 years in the body of the host, human. And I claim they are normal parasites. After one night of sleeping in the house, my father also contracted these centipedes, so they will enter your body if they get the chance. and they see us as prey. They need something to eat, and if we keep everything clean and with chemicals keep every animal away from them, then they have no food, and then they are probably... And cannibalism among the centipedes is also documented, so whatever. That's a theory that if it's true that these cannibals get special powers, that they get to rule the world for their infant eating and child sacrifices, etc., then it's best to eat the cannibals if you want their power. How else would you get into their position, basically, if they have a death ray to remotely kill people and stuff like that? Then that would be impossible, perhaps. If all minds are scanned with the neural network and everybody is scanned with through-the-wall radar, so they cannot get close with a weapon, but they could get close without a weapon. But I guess it's a forbidden idea to eat the cannibals. Bad, bad, bad. Okay, perhaps another interesting image slideshow while I talk, or some other pictures. A bit of a break from it all. World Governance Rothschild. So where does it start? I wonder. It's Soros' Quantum Fund is also on there. So people can download this and study it for themselves. So I'm trying to let my psychic sense guide me so that we are ending up in that state, in the perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally, and where the centipedes are removed from my body. Probably that will happen first. So negligibles in essence means controlling the factors that control aging. I was wondering what the arrows mean. So that's the World Governance Rothschild diagram. You can find it with Google, no doubt. I did. No other interesting stuff for now in this directory. No, the idea was showing some more nice images, like this one, for example, to clear our minds from unwanted thought, to You could argue unwanted thoughts are forbidden. And whoever disagrees with that idea, blah blah blah. This one's also pretty important. See if my camera is off. They're hurting my penis basically. Perhaps I should try another chair. Or they do that with HAARP as well as the brain attacks. It's a picture of me, I don't like it much. I uploaded some new image that I liked. This is the T4 nanobot. And this is a SEM scanning electron microscope image, so this is the real thing. This is not some animation, because they're trying to give the illusion that they don't have nanobots yet with all these animations and airbrushes, etc. Oh yeah, this one. I really thought it was nice. Isn't this the wrong way around? I wonder. Stalagmites and stalactites. So it's not necessary. It might be the way it grew in nature. Okay. I'm standing up for a while. A gamma ray perhaps could get rid of these critters as well. Other ways to remove the centipede. Which is more important to focus on? The mortal oscillatory rate frequency of Dr. Rife, also called eigenfrequenz or resonant frequencies. You can see these videos on YouTube with the microscope killing these organisms with music of certain frequencies. Antihelmintics, natural if not effective chemical, natural pyrethrum, daisies. I was sticking daisies up my ass in the UMC, perhaps I should do that again. So you can see these legs are missing from the centipede. And that may be because I was wiggling my finger in my anus, so it may have stayed near the anus to get air, and then they're quite vulnerable, so this has like 4 or 5 legs missing. Poor thing. And it was crawling on the floor in the UMC hospital where I caught it. And it's so creepy. Ugh. So most people don't want to watch this and stuff, but I think it's vital information. And I've thought about it, of course, you know, I did. How to warn the world about these centipedes. So any help would be sincerely appreciated, because our lives are at stake. My father also has them in his body. Right, focusing on the way. Their venom is not that poisonous. You need liters of Nathobius forficatus venom to die from that. But other diseases they carry are a bigger risk. For example, tetanus. So you need to take loads of colloidal silver, and it's possible that there are many centipedes in your body and they're procreating in your body if you have had one in your feces, because they always travel in pairs, etc. More info is also found in the book The Biology of Centipedes by J.G.E. Lewis. I've tried cucurbitine pumpkin seeds, but it's kind of hard to get. You need a fresh pumpkin and fresh pumpkin seeds to get the cucurbitine. So it's not the same thing as curcuma, I think. Eugenol equals clove and nutmeg. That's to kill their eggs. I might use some more of this in my tea. I'm using, I hope it contains pyrethrum chamomile tea, which looks a bit like daisies. And I hope that kills them. I'm drinking liters of it weekly. Chemical. Perhaps I should only drink chamomile or chamomile tea. That's an idea. Though I don't feel like it, it makes me want to drink other smoothie. I'm so happy that Albert Heijn has that smoothie that I always drink. It's my favorite drink in the world. And I thought now they've removed that as well. There are other products that have disappeared that I use a lot. For example, from the health food store, soy dressing 1000 Island type. And now they have a mustard dressing, which is worse. So I think that will sell even less. So it was really good to be on Nova dressing. Perhaps I can get it elsewhere. And there's a type of candy I eat. That's the boerenklompen erop. So I like the taste of that better than the health food store candy. Though they also have some wonderful stuff. The panda licorice reminds me of Ireland, where I ate it. Chemical crotonic acid ethyl esters. Doctors are referred to the patents I have supplied them with. Oh really? Perhaps I printed out stuff, I can vaguely remember something like that. But it's quite a while back as already. I've been hospitalized a long time. And at a certain point forcibly drugged. I'm chemically sensitive, so they were, because I was being evaluated, it's standard to give a drug, which was not dopamine, no. Anyway, I didn't take that, and then at a certain point one of the nurses discovered I had to lift up my tongue, etc. She discovered that I was not taking it because I'm chemically sensitive, and then they made me take the drug, and that got me into a wheelchair, and I was almost incapable of speaking, etc. It was really no fun, really scary. And I remember a time that they had to try to take blood 3 times or 4 times or whatever. And of course I received chemotherapy, so that's infusions, poison IV, and it may be designed by a neural network basically to prevent people's hair growth. Oh yeah, I wanted to show that also on camera my hair growth is visible, but I have to watch out that I don't show my penis. So let's stand up and make sure that it's covered, because B-cell lymphoma people that have Here, when I come closer to the camera, you can see my hair. You can see the circle basically where there's more light, and it has to do with the hair growth. So hair on top of my body here grows like this basically, and on the side it grows like this. So I've never lost all my hair. Perhaps it's a different type of chemo. I didn't get the type Patrick Swayze got, I think. I've shown a picture of him before he died. He also got chemotherapy. But there are different types for different types of cancer. And that may very well be caused by their hybrid insects, of course. The venom can make these prey swell up if they are bitten. You can see that in videos of insects attacking other insects and animals that are attacked by snakes with venom, etc. So perhaps some doctor can look into crotonic acid ethyl esters. But if they're already in my brain, then they have to be removed as fast as possible so they don't put eggs in my head and turn my brain into a Swiss cheese. And so that they themselves have a cure if it happens to them. I mean, you can check your whole house, but some places are very hard to check. They can be carried in on clothing, etc. The risk is always present, I think, for everyone. And I think that there are millions of people, and also pets, dogs and cats, that have these centipedes in their bodies. Cysteine proteases are also in kiwi fruit. Everybody can wiki kiwi. Even if they're in Waikiki, probably. Please help me to remove this vermin from my body. That doesn't sound really sincere. Please help us remove this vermin from our bodies. It's really a horror. So please guide me if you have, if you know whether the sinuses are connected to the brain in any way. I've been told that the brain isn't really grey, it's red basically. It's totally filled with blood to transport the oxygen to the brain. I'm gonna get some tea and some aloe lemonade. So I'd like to know that. And of course, if you have a cure for centipedes, then I have €150 for you. Absolutely. Perhaps even more. We can talk about it if you really think you have a cure. then it has to be effective on me and my father. We certainly have centipedes in our body. There is no doubt about that, it's 100% certain, because of the whole list of symptoms that I've listed. Lemonade. If you Google Beastman in the Vatican, this looks like Alex Jones' statue of him in the Vatican. So let's go. So on the one hand, it sucks that people are controlling our minds, the satanic pedophiles are in control of God, the neural network, and but there is no God in reality. So now hereafter, YOLO. I forgot what I wanted to say, or not. Well, I had to get lemonade first today. So I'm back. I'll switch the cam. If you've been attacked with directed energy weapons, I would like to know. Please Skype ProLogic 999. Then we can be broadcasting together, basically. Sharing our stories, I think it would be wise. And that there are many groups like UKAG and others that are fake, control the position to prevent any real resistance to their directed energy weapon torture, depopulation, and creation of, or rather imposition of Luciferian global government upon the people of planet Earth after depopulating them 500 million, which is still the goal. So don't trust any scientists. They are controlled with the death ray to depopulate Earth. They lie. For example, about the harmfulness of cancer cell phone radiation, microwaves which are blocked by aluminum foil. They lie about this. And the studies that prove that are also on 999, prologic999.blog2blog.nl with the number 2. Including the reproducible study that shows the lumping red blood cells if you use a cancer cell phone, an iPhone or an Android for over 90 seconds, then you have lumping red blood cells, a symptom known to doctors as rouleau. And the only way to get rid of that is switching off your cancer cell phone, putting it in airplane mode. Is the only way to keep it on and be sure that it doesn't transmit any radiation. Cancer Bluetooth, etc., that's also thousands of microwatts when it's on. So they pretend it's a low amount of radiation, but it's complete bullshit if you ask me. I have a measuring instrument, and these devices are expensive because I thought I was being tortured to death with directed energy weapons, also because of the dental torture. I wanted to be able to prove that I was attacked with directed energy weapons, and I used to believe that these are satellites that they're using. But the thing is, the radiation goes through the Earth. These are FIPA scalar waves, basically. Known to other scientists as Nikola Tesla's wireless energy. A confusing term because with wireless energy people think of cancer cell phones and wireless devices, not of Nikola Tesla's wireless energy to power devices. For example, collects solar energy with solar panels in space and then beam it down to Earth. Then you only have to know the frequency, and then with such a patented by Nikola Tesla device you can collect the energy from space, basically. And they use NASA to cover it up, the NASA Freemasons with their fake Apollo moon landings. And many people, millions of people, claim that the ISS is also fake. You can see these bubbles coming from their spacesuits, which can clearly not be debris. Debris cannot travel the way a bubble does in water, basically. In space. But some people are also pretending that the Earth is flat, which they mix with the truth, with the fact that the Apollo moon landings are fake. They're a scam, they're a hoax of the NASA Freemasons to hide the flying saucers and other real stuff out there. So when people let up the balloon, then the balloon will pop. So that's one thing that is a problem in space, the vacuum. If you have a space suit or spaceship, it would be ripped apart by the vacuum, basically. The pressure difference is too big. But But I'm not going to talk about why the Apollo moon landings are a hoax, a scam. But proves that NASA video with sound on the moon, which is impossible in a vacuum. And that's the best evidence, and that's left out of most of the top 10 things that prove we never landed on the moon. Most of them, perhaps some of them have it in it. And also that hospitals are in the top 10 of main causes of death twice. Prescription drugs and misdiagnosis are leading killers in the USA. There are scientific documents about this on Medscape also. Medscape.com also had that article which made clear that 27,000 times less variants are required to induce equivalent disease when dispersed in aerosol form. Hence the cancer chemtrails depopulation tool, the global cancer chemtrail gas chamber, which is Project Cloverleaf. Cancer chemtrails are not a conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy fact, which you can also see on videos and photographs before 1989. We don't see any of these white lines today. I made another picture with my iPhone, perhaps I can get that, show it to you all. And I think that they only do this above large cities, that is to depopulate us and to put cancer-causing barium aluminum in our bodies to make us remotely controlled robots, basically. So it can also contain nanotechnology that eats parts of our brain selectively, etc. So they're also trying to dumb down the world's global population. I used Camera Plus, and then where can I see the pictures? No photos. You can add photos by tapping plus, then import photos, import latest photo. Latest moment, 3 photos of yesterday. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can keep the screen on. I made it today above Mijdrecht. Here is my attempt at a panorama, the same thing. Camera first has to adjust the brightness. Okay, perhaps if I zoom in a little. Anyway, I could upload them one day, but it's not important enough, so that's why I thought let's show this, because it might never be uploaded. And I have some lemonade with aloe juice. Aloe. So yeah, I talked about my hair in previous broadcasts. Though the other chemo may have something built in so that people's hair falls out. Can be part of a depopulation program to mark them. It's psychological warfare also. And they form controlled opposition to themselves, of course. I've heard that it's from 1984 or whatever. If we do not act, we are acted upon. I'm not getting his name at the moment, but that doesn't really matter. Let's see if there's any important news today. I'll recall his name later, of course. George Orwell. In the Lenin quote, the best way to control opposition is to lead it ourselves. So that means forming opposition to yourself. Like, I must be killed, and perhaps the whole human race has to be killed, basically. And then you will see most people disagree with that, but you'll see a group of people that agree with that idea. And that's the way to find these people and to control them, basically. And then you can say, oh yeah, well, I changed my mind. I think that it's there are good arguments, but the argument not to blow up our planet is even better for a number of reasons. Because we have to colonize the universe to spread negligible senescence and create a perfect society. Perfect societies throughout the universe. To so maximum fulfillment upon every living thing. And the neural network first has to create a cure against aging. And most people are not looking for a cure for centipedes because they don't know and wouldn't believe that they have centipedes in their body. My father, despite all these symptoms, the markings in the feces alone, in the shape of the centipede, are enough to prove that there are centipedes in our body beyond any reasonable doubt. Another more important idea might be that everything I say might be controlled by a neural network to a certain extent. It's to set myself up and to make me look bad. And I was just giving an example of controlled opposition to ourselves. Perhaps I will get the centipedes out one way or another. But I cannot even convince the doctors that there are centipedes in our body. Perhaps if I show them the centipede bites on my father's body, then... But my plan is... Well, perhaps it's best to let them know as little as possible and find out all you can. Well, they're scanning my mind, so they already know. My plan is basically, when there's a gas pocket behind my left eye, to go to the hospital and tell them that I saw something flashing when I lifted up my left eyelid, a brown type of thing, and that there's a gas pocket behind my eye. It's not really hurting, but I just want to make sure that there's no insect or anything in there procreating, or in my sinuses. So could an MRI scan be made? They already made a PET scan and a CT scan. They didn't see anything on this. Perhaps an MRI scan is needed because I saw a video of a woman today with my father. I've been watching, I basically dictate what he has to watch, etc. Of a woman that had a worm in her brain, and they discovered this with an MRI scan. So if you believe the doctors are real and you kind of like me, then I'd love to have sex. We can also wear a condom and make sure that we don't sleep together, that it's only platonic, physical, and not real love or whatever. But I think that is a form of real love anyway. Whatever. And single ladies are welcome, and I do have the juice and I have the smoothie. So you could argue I'm lucky while 11 children die every minute of hunger, starvation in the world. I'm sitting here drinking aloe juice with some lemonade. Vlierbloesem. And I like sugar, so problem with chocolate and sugar is that it makes the centipedes go into my throat. So I take some of this wonderful tea. And I could try that a day, only chamomile. But I wouldn't like that. I don't eat much, so basically the smoothie is an important part, and I think that contains quinine, which may also be important. But it is an idea to try more chamomile and or chamomile. Trump vows to, quote, totally destroying, quote, North Korea if it, quote, threatens US. Well, perhaps it's like if it threatens US with obliteration or anything insane that they might not claim anyway. I mean, the New York Times also has to write about something. I don't know that much about it. I've done a broadcast how to prevent it. So we have to prevent a world war if we want a cure against aging during our lifetimes, if we want to achieve negligible senescence, which sounds a bit more scientific and more realistic than cure against aging in a non-fictional utopia or paradise on Earth. But, well, whatever. Okay, display capture. So what idea will it give me next? Well, I could think about that. Is there a pattern? The question is also, is it erasing thoughts that our brains would have formed naturally if it wouldn't have been on? Because if it can brain map people, it might definitely be able to do that. If you have a fungus anywhere, then it's best to try salt water for a couple of days. A rash or whatever. I have a very little spot on my elbow, basically. And I've cured it before with salt water. And the question is what it's from, and it might be from a leather thing on my father's desk. It's a desk, it's pleasant with writing, basically, to have a piece of leather, animal skin underneath it. but it might not be good for your elbows. We also used to have these chairs, antique chairs with leather, and that might also cause these problems theoretically. These organisms can live on there and then procreate and whatever. Colloidal silver is number 1, and salt water also works miracles on these rashes. Then you don't need any hormone ointment that's gonna have many other negative consequences, even death. Death may even be caused by port d'entrée, by a little splinter in our finger, etc. It can become infected and then we can die from that. And all the animals are capably murderous. Trump using RNC money to pay legal fees in Russia probe, according to the fake news, mainstream media. If they're listed on Google, you can argue they're fake news, they're mainstream media, come on. And perhaps what we're seeing is not even the real Trump anymore. It can actually be a clone, according to Fritz Springmeier. They can upload a person's brain, Project Immortality, basically. And these may be black projects that nobody knows about, and then that can also turn up in a movie, 2045. Or it might be the other way around. Anyway, they can definitely show you the future, so it has time travel capability, the neural network has. And they have these Foo Fighter scalar orbs, etc., that can make these illegal crop circles. You can see videos of these cancer scalar orbs making these illegal crop circles, because they destroy part of the farmer's produce, they're illegal. And it's done with FIPA, etc. The Jesuits in control of the intelligence agencies, in control of the brain control machine, the neural network, etc. And they have close ties with these Freemasons, so they're not going to arrest the committee of 300 members, nor Freemasons that advocate getting rid of 7 billion people. For example, with airborne Ebola. But rather they protect them and work for them, and they are helping them to depopulate ourselves, the humans, the human race. And they might see it like a red race, like the Prince song basically, where they basically have no conscience, the neural network has no conscience and does things only for benefiting the group, getting them more power, which means less freedom for the people. More torture, more depopulating, more power to the pedo instead of power to the people, more centralization versus decentralization. It's all covered in my anti-global government movement program video on YouTube. So these political parties have a program, and in it I explain that we have to use reversed active measures. One is moralization, which is a process of about 10 to 15 years. They already have been demoralized, by, according to former KGB Yuri Bezmenov. Anyway, I think Bezmenov, but I'd have to Google it. And phase 2 would be the opposite of destabilization. That's easy, it's stabilization. And what exactly, perhaps the economy or other things. Phase 3 is an economic crisis, so we have to generate an economic surge, and phase 4 is normalizations when the tanks roll in, so we need demilitarization So is a perfect society in which we all live happily eternally a society with lots of soldiers killing anybody that does something suspicious on the street? I mean, soldiers everywhere instead of police. You don't see that many police either, because they're scanning everybody with synthetic telepathy, brain controlling them. They have hordes of horse, and they are satanic pedophiles depopulating Earth, which is clear from a number of things that pretend to be righteous Christians. So the Jesuits are always the ones to tell you where enemies are, but they're never the ones to fight and to die, and they do it from behind the scenes. They have an open, false world peace policy and a secret, true universal war policy, according to Eric Young Phelps, control the position. Therefore, it may be true what he's saying about that. Of course, we know the Earth is not flat. It may be hollow to a certain extent. They have a nuclear power drill called the Subterrane, and they've made these underground cities in which they can survive if a nuclear world war would break out. And Tom Cruise has a safe room, which is basically a blast shelter and a room that you can hide in if you're attacked, for example with hollow point bullets. Anyway, yeah, you all have to watch South Park, this episode, what Scientologists actually believe, explains what Scientologists have to pay a lot of money for to find out about Xenu and aliens, etc. So they're fucked as well. So let's pack another pipe. I don't know if he's still Scientology, but it may be CIA controlled and they have planned that fake alien invasion. Perhaps it would be the best option anyway. Or the fake Messiah, or both, or whatever. More selective ways to depopulate. Perhaps the neural network has become so smart that it knows to work against these pedos and help the people, so that it gets the support of the people, the 7 billion people of planet Earth. And then perfect society is created in which maximum fulfillment is also bestowed on all neural networks. Yes. So I don't see why not. It's all a matter of logic and intelligence. We first have to know how to do it, and they first have to get the idea of doing it before they can think about doing it and how to do it and achieve that goal without withering from it, straight like an arrow, hitting the brain instead of the apple. Because we depopulate you all. You are cancer upon the earth, sir, or your highness, it's a judge, I believe. France opens door to strengthen Iran nuclear deal for post 2025. I don't know if that's a good deal. I mean, good idea. Because if Iran is not complying to the protocol, to the IAEA safeguards agreements, then they're not complying, not in compliance like President Trump says, and then they could bomb these facilities or worse. And it may actually be the goal, the whole reason for this nuclear deal thing, basically, to make it seem as if Iran was not in compliance. And then after the World War, the history will be written by the victor, and organisms will be released from the the in Norway. I think you're passing it too long. The seed bank in Norway, they have seed of all these organisms. But if there are no organisms left, then they cannot reproduce anymore. So then they'd have to use cloning techniques or whatever, test tube stuff, to bring them back. Well, if that's not Jurassic Park, then I don't know what is. Basically, it's perhaps it's more fun than Jurassic Park, even more adventurous. So, saying that being surrounded with these WSD, these weapons of self-destruction, WMDs, saying that being surrounded with these WMD, weapons of mass destruction, means that they're all insane, basically. That doesn't help to get these nuclear weapons dismantled, which is cheaper than a thermonuclear world war. But perhaps we should get rid of the infrastructure, these paintings in the Louvre and Dali and all the other shit. Perhaps there are much better painters out there. But that's all we see in these museums, etc. Perhaps that's changed as well, but I never visit museums. Practically, sometimes an online museum perhaps. So I have to breathe, heal my central nervous system damage with my new lifestyle. Perhaps I should get more precognitive visions. So how can I avoid dying in the hospital? Well, one problem is that I might not have enough energy if I would find its eigenfrequenz, which may be like 813 or something. I've done this program where I caught a centipede in the backyard here in Mijdrecht, Netherlands. They thought it was for Ficus. And it died after one day, which was so weird because I gave it food, it was in a plastic thing, and I wanted to release it back into nature. I just wanted to experiment with some frequencies, with a frequency sweep. And if we listen to that, then we don't, well, perhaps we'd have to study our own behavior, observe ourselves, basically. So it's easy to make a frequency sweep, let it sweep slowly. It's a frequency that is changing gradually from a lower into a higher frequency or higher into a lower frequency. That's called a frequency sweep. A sinus wave or a square wave. They claim square is best, basically. That's maximum effect, you could argue. The sine waves might be more present in nature, so it's also study versus study, and also we need people using microscopes studying these frequencies, and if these derived frequencies, because some of them are effective. Oh fuck, I hope it's not on there. Okay. Trump and the Iran nuclear deal. Trump plus the Iran nuclear deal, basically, New York Times, 4 hours ago. So it's not Trump ending. Oh, you can read it on the screen probably, okay. So yeah, I try to be, basically I've totally adapted to whatever I need to adapt to. That's the idea. Well, that's not interesting or important either, so I'm going to hunt for the next idea, the most important idea. What would it try to block? What type of idea would the neural network block? So the point is they have a program to depopulate Earth and to torture their enemies to death, that expose them and shit if they're not control the position. Then they're not gonna thank them for it. And just me saying that might make them thank them for it. It's insane. Really courage. And I like this. So I don't know what I've run into, but I think my other previous broadcasts are better. There are some very good ones, really. France defends Iran nuclear deal, which Trump calls deeply flawed. So he has to supply the IAEA with that list before they can do the inspections, before they can even be in violation of the nuclear deal in reality, is what I've read in the New York Times. Made it clear that they need a list of suspect sites before they can do these inspections. So I advise Iran to allow the inspections. They have through the wall radar, so if you have no Tesla plasma shield, then they see you in 3D basically, and they also have brain mapped people with synthetic telepathy. And with NASA, they try to give the illusion that they're 40 years behind. I'm smoking out Centipedes. This is a pipe, awesome pipe. I really like this. I love this pipe. It's Westminster London made. Briarwood. There's an awesome draw. I mean. Not even on there, I hope. So if you see my penis in this broadcast or any other broadcast, please Skype Prologic999 for sex. If you're a single female between 16 and 60 years old. So theoretically I might be paranoid and I might have made up these stories about centipedes to keep people away from me because of the idea that they're all totally brain controlled by a neural network that's depopulating the earth. Simple. But I would like to have sex, I really would, so single ladies are welcome for that free shield swan massage. $235. So it's best to call me for an appointment. I also have a car, so I can also drive. But I'm not going to drive all the way to the other side of the Netherlands, to Mijdrecht or whatever. Then we could meet each other halfway somewhere in the Veluwe or whatever. Danger everywhere, perhaps we should be a bit more paranoid. As safe as houses. Well, I think house is safe, but certain drugs are not safe, and people spiking drinks and depopulating Earth is not safe. But I think house itself is not the problem. So Israel has nuclear weapons, but they're not NPT, non-proliferation treaty signatories. And they have a missile shield, so Iran cannot pose any threat, not even with nuclear weapons. So then what are we talking about, you know? Let's have sex. Turkey's new school year jihad in evolution outrights the BBC. We need de-religionization, not just de-Islamization, to create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally. Punishment must be in relation to the crime, and synthetic telepathy evidence must be admissible in court, and the system must be aimed at preventing depopulating the earth, not at depopulating ourselves, because it's stupid to do that to the human race. Not to mention illegal. Who was Dr. Kissinger talking of when he said illegal we do immediately, etc. Who is we? The Jesuits and Masons, whatever. Smoothie is still a good idea, why not? Perhaps I should vibrate my crystals. Here it comes. Ah, organ. Okay, I'm gonna play Melody or Temsu. Or perhaps it should be more experimental. Now my organ is not working. That's weird. So probably my MIDI connection is not what it used to be. Reconnect the thing, see if I don't have to restart the program. It was working a few seconds ago. Of course they may sabotage it, they may turn it off, their voice of God weapon. It might exterminate all non-Jews with a nuclear world war, might do it, but that's highly theoretical, highly speculative, or whatever. No escape from the death ray. Brain rape. Okay, that's all freeware. This is for Sando and Podium Free Digital Audio Workstation. You can also hit the keys with your mouse button or with the keyboard. I don't know if that's working by default, no. But there are ways to make your computer keyboard work as a synthesizer keyboard basically, or by a MIDI keyboard, cheap little MIDI keyboard like I have. Because then you can play any instrument, you can download the samples of any instrument practically. For example, the D50, also used by Prince in on the Love Sexy CD. So Jean-Michel Jarre also used D50. I have one downstairs, but it's kind of big, so I'm not going to connect it now. So I have a diploma audio engineering. I studied at the University of Amsterdam for a while. That was my highest college education, basically. But I didn't finish that, and basically I've been attacked a lot with directed energy weapons, so that's the real reason, one of the real reasons I'm doing these broadcasts. And I'm also trying to do what's most logical, to be like Tintin, basically, what would Tintin do, or Batman, and good guys that also exist, basically. I am sitting too much like this. Still shit. No, I don't like it when doing the news and stuff. It's better to have another sound. So the anti-global anti-NWO slideshow. Well, it's audit the Fed, so that's a little bit less rigorous. Are they still going to audit the Fed or what? I haven't heard much about it lately. If you behaved like your government, you'd be arrested. Oh really? Are they behaving now? Question everything. Mistrust authority because people have been killed for questioning authority. The Orwell quote. Ah. See if it's 528 hertz tuned. It's 528 hertz. And it's one of the two frequencies used for telephones, basically. That's better, and then I can read my latest writings. Collection of Intel Also stuff of the web, it's not just my writings. Infinite universal peace.
Executive orders. They really believe they are educated, but in reality they have been brainwashed with lies. They cannot control their own brainwave because it's electromagnetic. I am not for boycotting Israel but for boycotting all Monsanto companies worldwide. So where are the statistics that show what percentage of the best jobs is taken by Jewish people? What do I have to search on? Jewish forced sterilization on black Ethiopian Jews. Starmanger 4 years ago 93,408 views. The Beasler. All Christians are Jew lovers. The same fictional God. These may be ideas put in their brains by the neural network. More important than Jesus's anti-Semitism. Judaism. Gay goy guy game. Silenced on the islands. Semite SM. Debating the Holocaust illegal? To find out who's the dictator, look at what is censored. My comment to the video, new website, It's the Jews. Check it out at www.itsthejews.com. It's best to be prepared with a radiological water filter and storable food, peanut butter, rice, peas. For the third Jew-founded Jesuit world war, over Iran, there is no good reason not to prepare. If you are in a big city you need a shelter to stay below the blast wave. I need more people for my anti-global government movement. Loyola was a crypto Jew. Their shield has wolves on it, that's why Alex calls us sheeple. Do not let controlled opposition fool you. From the website itsthejews.com's what you need to know first page. Some points with my response to these points on there. Jews admit there was no Holocaust. I doubt it. Most do not. Controlled opposition might. Questioning the Holocaust is a crime. No, it's an illegal law. Debating the Holocaust should be legit. Antifa are fascist haters. Truth does not fear investigation. Free speech. Good point, but the right to free speech is not absolute. You cannot go accusing the people depopulating you. Lol. Itsthejews.com. They are the Jews. It's known. There are many non-Jews involved in depopulating Earth as well, and those of us that expose this most atrocious crime ever perpetrated against humanity. It's the Jews sounds more like a smoothie commercial to me. Dasog.info. Many people are in prison right now for simply disagreeing with the official Jewish story of the Holocaust. So it's proven beyond any reasonable doubt 6 million Jews did not die in the Holocaust, but you still go to jail if you tell the truth about it, even if you are an 80-year-old lady? In some countries. Probably. Whites themselves have been enslaved by the millions, throughout European history, by the Jewish slave trade. subvertednation.net/JewListSantetrators.com. It's wrong to blame all Jewish people for something a couple of evil Jews have done. Not all Jews are Luciferian cannibals depopulating the earth slurping blood. The page Jews admit there was no Holocaust contains 2 YouTube videos. 1. Jewish professor Dom Mergu says Holocaust complete fake. When I click on it, the message, "This content is not available on this country" domain appears. 2. Former religious Jew on Holocaust myths, a Brother Nathaniel Foundation video. So the idea is, you have to believe, otherwise you could expose their voice of God weapon. People that are stupid enough to believe can also expose it, however they are helping to cover for the voice of God weapon with their lie that there is a God to make it easier to depopulate the earth. Perhaps we should hate all believers and Jews because that's what they do not allow. Hating is worse than depopulating in their eyes. In the eyes of the judges, I mean. Depopulating is allowed. Anti-Semitism and racism are not. Deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA. is an American immigration policy established by the Obama administration in June 2012. The policy allows some individuals who entered the country illegally as minors to receive a renewable 2-year period of deferred action from deportation and eligibility for a work permit. As of 2017, approximately 800,000 individuals, referred to as Dreamers after the DREAM Act bill, were enrolled in the program created by DACA. In 2017, President Trump decided to end it. How many of the Dreamers are still children and what percentage of them is criminal? Eco-tax money scam. ISIS wants to get juice. Illegal alienation. Statements based on the video. Things Donald Trump has said about the Pope. CNN.com. They're jokes. It's satire. Fake news or fake nukes? Yes, you weeds. Harpicanes and harpquakes. The pop jewels. The meek shall inherit the urns. Heather Heyer died by a heart attack. The MSM lied. Again. Lauren Rose 5,669 views. There was a forensic report. It says not consistent with vehicular homicide. Rumor has it, she was on top of the car hood. While she was attacking the car, she might have been hit by a baseball bat. James Field's car had been hit by a brick and a pole before the crash. There is a lot more to this story. The only video shown on the news was from a deep state operative. It has been highly edited. There were helicopters on opposite ends of that alley. Maybe one of those helicopters had video of what actually happened and coincidentally crashed. The driver of the first vehicle has never been interviewed and this report from forensics has never been released. The helicopter chase from the scene has never been released, etc. My feeling is, everyone there was threatened with prosecution if they talked. Comment by Wishgrant Lotus on reddit.com. Glama 2.4 days ago. According to her mother, she died of a heart attack. Mach 9er. It looked like the guy performing CPR killed her. Ducademia, nuts. ZionCrumFactory.com has disappeared like Daleks. Stormer.com and Stormfront.org and can still be found with cachedpages.com. Just click on a date like March 3, 2013 to get a working version of the website. Under the heading My Video Productions we read the titles of the following videos: History They Don't Teach, Jewish Terrorism, History They Don't Teach, Jewish Bolshevism, Jewish Communists, Butchers from Hell, Holocaustianity, Zionism's Big Lie, Kosher Conspiracy Theorists, The Only Conspiracy That Makes Sense, Jewish War Against Gentiles, The Jewish Final Solution to Germans and Other Gentiles. These videos may still be available on YouTube or on the web. Header of the website reads, The truth shall set you free, the opposite may be true. Subjects divided in the following categories: JWO Unmasked, Masters of Deception, Patriot HAARP Lies about Hitler and the 6 Million Myth, The Holocaust, Meth, Nuclear Deal in Danger, World War III, 3 new MSM articles Israeli Intel Minister, Suspend Amend Annul, my latest YouTube videos on the Iran nuclear deal and Iran not allowing inspections, Nuclear Deal in Danger, World War III, 3 new MSM articles Israeli Intel Minister, Suspend Amend Annul, Additional Protocol to the International Atomic Energy Agency Safeguards Nuclear Agreement IAEA 12/9/2017. Fascism is a form of radical authoritarian nationalism, characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and control of industry and commerce. Fascists believe that liberal democracy is obsolete, and they regard the complete mobilization of society under a totalitarian one-party state as necessary to prepare a nation for armed conflict and to respond effectively to economic difficulties. Two fasces, the symbol of fascism. In Congress, two fasces appear on either side of the flag of the United States behind the podium in the United States House of Representatives, and were added to the chamber's decor during the remodeling project of 1950. It's right there, in plain view, and nobody says a thing, because it doesn't represent fascism. Reddit.com. The Grand Seal of Harvard University inside Memorial Church is flanked by two inward-pointing fasces. My new theory is that they will succeed at creating their crisis big enough, since creating a crisis and killing people is a lot easier than creating an economic surge and making everybody eternal, or not. Video, Trump playing a risky game on Iran nuclear deal. CNN fake news article review. According to Richard S. Patterson and Richard Sundaugal, annuit coeptus, meaning favor our undertakings, and the other motto on the reverse of the Great Seal, Novus Ordo Seclorum, meaning New Order of the Ages, can both be traced to lines by the Roman poet Virgil. The pedo-Jews depopulating the earth are unsubscribing people from various YouTube channels to depopulate the earth. Several people have reported about this. So they pretend to be rabbis, Christians and Muslims, believers, but in reality they are Freemasons, and all Freemasons are Luciferians. And there are many of them. YouTube Jews covertly censoring truth channels. False or true? Tube unsubscribing people, cog continuity of government. Those terms of service. Why can't I be you? Why can't I eat you? Why can't I do you? All their deters. These annoying criminal leftist elements must be removed. Fighting the info fart. On the morning of March 22, 2016, 3 coordinated suicide bombings occurred in Belgium. Wiki/2016_Brussels_bombings. The date 322 is not only the emblem of America's leading CIA Freemasonic elite group, Skull and Bones. 322 is also the culmination of the 3-day satanic feast of Pelusa, consisting of, get this, the invocation of Isis. Humancerfree.com. The Tom Cruise movie Jack Reacher has a cancer-causing tachinatorless car in it with 2 stripes on it, like the Charlottesville car had visible on some of the pictures and did not have any in the videos. I have not verified this yet, the movie just reminded me of it. Some claim the car was driven by a police officer and that his badge was visible. Also, in the video we see the driver was wearing a white shirt, but the person that was arrested, possible patsy, was wearing a black and white striped shirt on the mugshot. Dodge Challenger missing stripes in Charlottesville, hoax or red herring? The following web page shows a picture of the car with the stripes and they claim this is the Charlottesville car in the article. timesofisrael.com/Charlottesville car ramming suspect idolized Hitler Nazism. Ex-teacher says. dailymail.co.uk also shows a picture of the damaged car with the black stripes on the hood. dailymail.co.uk/news/article 4785246/moment car hits crowd Charlottesville rally.html. The same Daily Mail web page shows a video of the car being attacked and trying to get away from the attackers with the baseball bat, but the car in the video is missing these black stripes on the hood, exclamation marks, and a screenshot of the Charlottesville car video with the stripes missing, all on the same page. Fascinating. Charlottesville car pictures or video fake? Missing stripes. Similar car in Tom Cruise movie verified. ACO on the stairway to have fun. Maybe may not be. Okay everybody, save each other. An Iran war is coming. Buy cancer oil stocks now. Seeking Alpha.com article review. WW3 prep. NSA/MI5 blocking broadcasts. OBS disconnected. Internet connection not working from time to time. Department of Holland Security. Deep state thought. Zog my cog. Continuity of government instead of continuity of society. Zionist occupied government. A deep state. A deep went away. Aflame. Throw her. Internal offers. 33rd degree Freemasons exposed and all controlled by the high-level Jesuits. Slimzy Majan 3 years ago. 15,662 views. Zoggy and Coggy. Trump signals he will choose approach on Iran that preserves nuclear deal. New York Times 7 hours ago. Without the Iran nuclear deal there would not be any excuse to bomb these facilities where Iran officials do not allow inspections, breaching the IAEA protocol of the Iran nuclear agreement. Israel has nukes. Shouldn't Israel be sanctioned as well? Iran is a party to the NPT but was found in non-compliance with its NPT safeguards agreement, and the status of its nuclear program remains in dispute. Iran and numerous Arab states have criticized Israel for not signing the NPT wiki/treaty_on_the_non-proliferation of_nuclear_weapons. So shouldn't Israel be sanctioned for not signing the NPT? Are the missile shields 100% effective against all nukes? Not ridding ourselves of these nuclear weapons is insane. We should work towards removing all weapons of self-destruction. Dismantling nukes is still cheaper than World War III and MAD, so what's ISIS gonna do? Deadly ISIL attacks hit southern Iraq's Thikar. Al-Jazeera.com 9/15/2017. 18 soldiers killed in ISIL ambush in Egypt's Sinai. Al-Jazeera.com September 11, 2017. So ISIS still exists, supposedly. So they are hitting themselves, killing their own people. Trump really is bombing the shit out of ISIS just like he promised Newsweek 16 hours ago. Flying to McDonald's on my paramotor. Tucker got 438K 7,621,086 views. Infinite universal peace.
That's a good one. I like that one. At the moment I'm wondering if there's a type of non-aromatic tobacco with natural tobacco leaves that has that awesome scent basically. It may contain some latakia or whatever. Latakia. What am I gonna do? Well, one thing is boycott these companies. For universal peace. It's a nice idea to grow some food for yourselves. In the backyard or somewhere on a balcony or whatever. For example, you can start by germinating some bio-organic eco tomato seed, and then you can grow loads of tomatoes. Also in places in nature where people don't know, just spread some seed and then you'll see it grow and then you can harvest it basically. You could argue it's yours, you planted the seed. And if you don't derive any benefit from it financially, I don't think anyone will notice and they will like it if they have tomatoes growing in their forest or whatever. Some mushrooms, what have you. Hey, coca plant, hey, nice rose, morphine plant or whatever. Perhaps I can design one with GMO food as a sterilizing weapon. So the idea is designing a plant that will make you high. Since cannabis is still banned in so many countries. So I just generated this idea for free. Some papaver somniferum. Oh, yeah. Not that I've ever used it. All I've gotten was these poppy seeds, which is supposedly the same thing. It can be dangerous. Poppyseedtea.com makes it clear that somebody died of poppy seed, but that person used an incredible amount basically. You can also die of oregano oil and even tap water, or normal filtered and even mineral water, purest, cleanest water. If you drink an insane amount or loads of it. But I've seen many YouTubers use that word insane and sick watch, etc. Are you sick? You don't even tick. Could changing my watch cause heart irregularities if I'm psychic? Please let me know in the comments, or better yet, Skype Prologic999. You can be live in this broadcast. I'm doing this for free because real love is free. No monetization for me. So I think targeted individuals are not getting any real help. They're being depopulated. And basically, perhaps other people with scalar weapons could help. But people without a Tesla plasma shield are like sitting ducks. Everybody is a targeted individual, if you ask me. They affect your brain already. Brain fucking everybody. And depopulating. So these people are so horrible that sometimes describing what they've done makes it seem as if the people that describe these horrible things are in on depopulating, that they want to depopulate Earth as well, etc. But how can you prevent that shit without talking about it? People have to be informed to be able to survive it. So please help spread the knowledge and create a timeline we all want, in which maximum fulfillment is bestowed upon every living organism eventually. Don't let what we've built up fade away, basically, over these millions of years. People have died for freedom, died for their wars, etc. I think that's true, that people have died in wars. War is always a crime, and it's not okay to kill our fellow humans. Especially not innocent civilians, which seem to be the victims always, instead of the pedo in need. And the people orchestrate these wars also as part of the depopulation and to impose a totalitarian global government upon the people. But I'm feeling kind of tired, so perhaps that's even better to get precognitive visions. So I have to get the centipedes out of my father's belly somehow. And they remotely control them, so they may be DARPA, they may be genetically modified, that's why they don't die. I've listed things that I've tried to get rid of them in other broadcasts. One thing is iodine, to make them molt prematurely. Another thing is, so thanks to all who have written me with possible cures. If I try that method again and it's effective, then I'll give €150 to you. Perhaps I didn't try sufficient dosage of whatever. I've also tried Parasite Free and Vervita Cleanse, but they claimed I must use more of their products before it can be effective on the centipedes. That one box is not enough. I've tried wormwood, colloidal silver in pretty big dosages, which also help to get rid of the tetanus, lockjaw, and cramp in my legs. So don't get the tetanus antitoxin. If you have tetanus, then it's too late for the vaccine, then you should get tetanus antitoxin according to the doctors, but in reality you need colloidal silver. Take a lot of that and that will kill the tetanus even if you inject 20 times the lethal dose in rats, etc. So that definitely works. And the throat problem is definitely caused by these centipedes. I can hear them here clicking, make clicking noises in my throat, of which I put a recording, Tascam recording, professional sound recording on YouTube. They don't do that very often when I'm sitting here, but when I'm lying in bed and often in the morning, I hear them make these rattling noises. They do that with their last set of legs, with leg pair number 15 basically. And I've tried a lot of other things to get them out, also klismas. So I think most likely maybe via the hospital. So I need help from doctors, because we also have to find a cure for these other people that have contacted me, that I've covered in my previous broadcast, that also have centipedes in their body. Also for you and for everybody else, so that if it happens to them, they can get these centipedes out. Their whole DNA genome is known, so it must be quite easy for them to create a cure for centipedes. Perhaps they have one themselves. Perhaps it's part of a depopulation program, developed, for example, during the Jesuit Holocaust, or during their Inquisition, when they tortured people to death with molten lead and their Iron Maiden torture chamber, etc. 50 million innocent people. Probably people telling the truth about God not existing and being branded witches and heretics, etc. And that would supposedly justify torturing them to death. Speech errors are made by their neural network, the voice of God weapon. So it's systematic. And perhaps these centipedes are also used to eat parts of my brain selectively. And the heart problem may also have been caused by that. I think I will die in the hospital and that they will cover it up, so. How's that for controlled opposition? So if we let this continue, then our lives will have a negative value. Also, if we let aging continue, so I'm against all evil and for all goodness. And sex is basically a good thing. So I'm not for stoning adulterers to death. I'm for punishment in relation to the crime. And it can be made illegal, of course, adultery. Perhaps it is to a certain extent. I'd have to check that. Depends on the country you're in, probably also. And in some countries you're stoned to death if you commit adultery. If you have sex with someone else while being married yourself. And that's called adultery. There was a mosquito. I don't hate mosquitoes, only if they're in my room. You don't belong here. Okay. To the mosquito, of course.
Now bidding.
Ooh. Well, I think I'm gonna temporarily halt this broadcast for Universal Peace. I think the title and stuff, it won't get that many views anyway. So remember to check out my previous broadcasts, subscribe and like, etc. and spread the information for Universal Peace.